A network of Turner Broadcasting System.
Welcome to Larry King Live. Tonight, Gabor takes center stage in court. The Hungarian darling says she's innocent. Plus, the former Mrs. Steve Garvey. Now, here's Larry King.
Good evening from Washington. Good show tonight. Cindy Garvey will be with us later, and she has a terrific book out. First, Gabor is back in the limelight. The Hungarian beauty queen pled not guilty today to slapping a policeman and 4 other misdemeanor charges. It all started last month when a Beverly Hills police officer pulled Zsa over in her white Rolls Royce. She wound up in handcuffs. The Rolls Royce landed up in the pound. Zsa made a personal appearance in court to vindicate herself. She says she's innocent. But Deputy District Attorney Eldon Fox disagrees.
Nothing more than a battery on a peace officer that occurred during a routine traffic stop with a lady who I think feels she should be treated somewhat differently than the average citizen.
Okay, Zsa, who is our special guest in Los Angeles, we thank you for joining us. What?
Hi,
wow.
darling.
What are you wearing? Whoa.
Is that nice?
Yes. What happened that day in L.A.?
Can I tell you exactly what happened?
Please.
Because the police is such a lie. I thought the police is here to defend us, but they even lie. On top of it, they beat up women.
What happened?
Tell you what happened. I drove my Corniche. I just come back from Palm Beach and Rome and London, where I made shows.
What happened?
Well, I drove my car down La Cienega. All of a sudden, a motorcycle man, the policeman stops and he says, do you know that your car is expired? The ticket, I don't know how you call it.
License plate.
I said, it couldn't have been because the Rolls Royce cost so much money. I remember clearly in January, I paid for it. So, all right.
What did you have, a temporary license tag?
No, I have an 88 was on it, but
okay.
we paid for the 89, which later we found out that in Sacramento, the goofed up, they had my money, but the computer goofed up and they forgot to send down the 89. Right.
So you had an expired license plate on the car.
And in the front, I had on the license plate for Mr. Nixon. Inauguration year, 74, Gabor from President Richard Nixon, which I have on now for 16 years.
Stop, Bo. You're losing me a second. The cop stopped you because you had a plate that had expired.
No,
so the Nixon thing doesn't mean anything. What did the cop say?
The cop stopped me because it was a Corniche and because it was Gabor and because he's a jealous so-and-so. The cop had nothing to do that little thing.
But if the license plate read 88 and had expired, he's supposed to stop you.
Well, he did stop me. He's supposed to stop me. Also let me wait in the sun 45 minutes. And they also have a young actress who pulled up at me and said, Zsa, how can it happen to me? And for about 45 minutes we talked. After 45 minutes, he wrote out a ticket. He never came back to me. I looked back and said, officer, can I go now? I know that the law is they are not allowed to hold back any citizens that long. They give you a ticket, you pay. So he said, F off, which is an English expression I didn't understand. I thought it meant I can go. So I drove my car up on Olympic. He came with all blast. He put his hand into the window because the window was down as it was so hot. He, with such a terrible pain, it dragged me out of the car, called me, you F. And I said, officer, you're hurting me. He says, I F, well, we'll break your 2 arms also, and I break your legs. That's when I slapped him to get loose. It was self-defense. I don't even remember. I slapped him. I only know.
Why would this cop act so violently toward you?
I tell you why. We found out since then his background. He does it to almost everybody in Beverly Hills, and he brags around that he hates the rich and famous, and he gets even with them. I just don't understand one thing, darling. You know me long enough. I'm not a stupid woman. If a 6'6" cop with a gun in my face, because his gun was just about the height of my face, I will hit a cop if he doesn't hurt me. I am not that stupid. In Beverly Hills, they killed children with guns. They killed my best friend who ran Van Cleef and Arpels.
What is this?
By mistake, they shot him. The police shot him.
What is this police officer's name?
His name is Paul Kramer. He's famous for harassing rich people.
All right, now, let me, Zsa, is it possible...
But the police chief, I just heard what you said, the district attorney, is such a damn liar because he says his people are testifying as police people. I said handcuffed, kicked, hurt, screaming, help, help, against the police when the other police arrived.
Is it
so how
possible...
could anybody testify?
All right. We called, by the way, the police, and that
I know
policeman
the police has to
will not
defend
comment.
themselves.
Yeah. All right, Zsa, is it possible, just I'm trying to, we don't have the other side here, is it possible that you got a little ticked off and that you said, listen, I bought my plate, they didn't send it to me.
I did tell,
I'm
no,
I'm
I didn't know
Zsa
that.
Gabor, leave me alone. Is it possible
I
that
don't say I'm Zsa Gabor. Listen, Larry, I'm a Hungarian girl. I was raised in the communist and Nazi atmosphere when I was a little girl. My grandmother was killed, as you know, and my uncle. I don't start with a policeman. I said, officer, please, I am sure that I paid for it because it hurts. It costs so much every year. I pay my taxes, my insurance, and the license plate as soon as the bill comes in. And in January, paid it, and then we went to Palm Beach. It is not possible. He hated me.
He had to give you a ticket if you had an expired
He did not give me a ticket. He didn't. He was backstage, 2 cars behind, talking to someone on the telephone, probably telling now when I think it over. I arrested Zsa Gabor. He never came back to me. And when I turned back and I said, officer, can I go? And I said, F off, which in England means you can go.
Okay.
And so I drove my car off.
Right.
And then he hit me, he kicked me, he handcuffed me. Dr. Al Conan, who is the head of Cedars here, will tell you because he x-rayed my arm. My arm still hurts me. He says he thinks there's something wrong.
Just slow down 1 second.
I can't slow down because
okay,
I'm so
I know.
mad.
Why did you appear in court today? This is a misdemeanor on a traffic charge. All you had to do was wait till the trial.
It's not a, I don't know what you're saying.
Why,
What is misdemeanor?
This is a misdemeanor. It's not a felony. Why did you appear today?
I appeal to say that I am innocent.
Yeah, but I mean, your lawyer could have said that. It's not a felony.
No, but my lawyer is wonderful, but I'm Hungarian. My father was a freedom fighter, and I'll be damned if I allow the Beverly Hills police, the rich and famous police, everybody's a Rolls-Royce here, everybody. If they hate so much the rich and famous, they shouldn't be in Beverly Hills. They should be down somewhere.
Is it possible that the rub works against you, Zsa? I mean, you're suing Delta Airlines for $10 million because they escorted you off a flight on your dogs. They say
11 million.
All right.
11.
Delta says that you were belligerent to them. Is it possible, Zsa, that your reputation is such that this police officer might have acted off that?
That is very possible. As a matter of fact, he brought up Delta. And when I called up my lawyers in Florida, the Cohen, they said, Zsa, that's wonderful for us because now Delta really will hear from us. Because Delta dragged me off. The dogs went loose. I tell you what it is, Larry. Unfortunately, the world is turning to a time when you shouldn't wear diamonds, you shouldn't wear Royces. That's what happened. In the aeroplane, I had a diamond ring on, I had my stable coat. The dog was always in the carrying case. The other dog was with a maid in the second class all the way back. We interviewed lots of people in the aeroplane. Nobody even knew we had a dog.
You think they're hitting on you because of who you are?
They're hitting on people who have diamonds on, who are a little bit richer than they are. But I tell you why, honey, I earned everything myself. I left Mr. Hilton without alimony. This is very few American women can say that about themselves.
So you think this cop was out to get you?
This cop is out to anybody who has a Rolls-Royce. This cop is absolutely not a Republican.
Did you call his police chief and complain to him?
His police chief was very sweet to me. He said, Zsa, we have so much trouble, this we didn't need. And the mayor of Los Angeles, Mr. Ray, he called me up. Tom said, I'm so sorry, Zsa, it happened.
Tom Bradley apologized to you?
He's a good friend. He says he's so sorry.
He apologized to you for the mayor of the city?
He didn't apologize. He just said he's so terribly sorry. I don't know if that's good. He's a good friend of mine. So did the police chief of Beverly Hills. He was very upset about the whole thing. He says, we have so many lawsuits against the police department. We really didn't need you, too, he said.
All right, let me get a break, and we'll come right back with Zsa Gabor, who stays in the limelight. This is Larry King Live. Cindy Garvey's still to come. Tomorrow night, Frank Young will be here. He's commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration. And Friday night, we're going to do a complete program on the case that won't go away. Captain Jeffrey McDonald, guilty or innocent? That's Friday night. Coming up in a couple weeks, Sylvester Stallone. Don't go away.
What would you do?
Our guest is Zsa Gabor, who pled innocent today. There are 4 counts charged against her. Zsa could get a year in county jail or be fined.
That is funny.
That's funny to you. Why are we even talking?
I think it's very funny because I'm considering to leave Beverly Hills and move to a horse ranch because who wants to run into some Tom Selleck lookalike who thinks he's macho and kicks a woman after he puts the handcuffs on so tight? I said, I'm screaming. It hurts. He says, I hope
Why did he's a Tom Selleck lookalike?
Yeah, he's very gorgeous, but he has no brains at all.
Why did he handcuff you?
Well, I don't know why he handcuffed me. He says, I'm going to break both of your arms, and then he kicked me. When he handcuffed me, then he kicked me with his damn boots.
Now, let's be, obviously, we're trying to reconstruct the scene here. Did you do anything to tick him off?
I hit him after he hurt.
But that was after he hurt you. What did you do that got him so mad at you?
I think that I drove up, but when he said F off, I thought that means I can go after 45 minutes. I actually had a check.
What was he doing during the 45 minutes?
He was on the telephone
Well, was he trying to check with Sacramento to see if your plate was okay?
Well, if he did, then he couldn't have, because my husband is German. It took him 10 minutes to find out that Sacramento said, yes, Miss Gabor paid in January the money, and our computer goofed up, and we forgot to send her the check.
So is that what he was, did he tell you why he went to the phone?
He never came back to me again. He never came back. There was a young actress we talked, and after 40, she's going to testify. After 45 minutes, I looked back at his office. I'm very busy. Can I go? And my lawyer says it's not even allowed to retain a citizen that long in a big sun and everything. And that's when he said F off, and so I thought that means I can go. And from then on, every sentence he started was F. I said, officer, I'm getting a heart attack. I had a very serious operation last year. He says, I hope F, well, you get a heart attack. I'm going to get the F paramedics. And I was sitting on the floor with my skirt going up, my hands handcuffed, and there was about 20 people screaming, don't do that to Jaja. And an Israeli man who came to my lawyer picked up my glasses, said, F off, and he didn't let him put back my sunglasses. But we have so many people. You see, a friend of mine said that Gestapo done the same things, but they had enough brains to not do it in public. This man did it between 30, 40 people on the street. He's a stupid. And then now the police chief says they're going to testify, the police. So the police came about 20 minutes later. I was screaming, help, help. I was so afraid of the police officer. And then the police came. They let me sit there. And then one guy pushed me in a car. He said, it's too hot. He didn't sit in it. And then when he hit him, they put on the air conditioner.
Okay,
handcuffed.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll take phone calls for Zsa Gabor as the saga of L.A. law continues. Cindy Garvey will be with us at the bottom of the hour. By the way, among the guests coming up in Los Angeles, Kirk Douglas, Don Rickles, Shelley Winters, John Candy, Billy Crystal. We'll be out in L.A., you might gather. We'll be back with your calls for Zsa Gabor. We'll stay at a Rolls Royce's. First, these words. Calls for Zsa Gabor.